The evening air was crisp as Daniel stepped onto the balcony of his apartment, staring at the city lights below. He took a slow sip of his coffee, the warmth spreading through his chest, though it did little to ease the unease creeping into his mind. For the past 5 years, he had built his life around Emily, the woman he once believed was his future. Their love had been effortless in the beginning, a whirlwind of laughter, whispered promises, and nights spent dreaming of forever. He had always been the dependable one, the man who held doors open, remembered anniversaries, and sent good morning texts before she even woke up. To everyone else, they were the perfect couple. Their Instagram feed told a story of romance, candlelit dinners, vacations by the beach, and stolen kisses under the city skyline. But lately, something had shifted. Emily had become distant, her affection growing mechanical. The late nights at work had started piling up, the locked phone screen becoming a permanent fixture between them. He had brushed off the excuses at first. She was stressed, exhausted, overwhelmed. But deep down, Daniel knew that love didn't fade like this overnight. Still, he held on to the illusion, hoping that whatever was wrong would fix itself. He reminded himself of the little things, how she used to run her fingers through his hair absent-mindedly, how she whispered "I love you" when she thought he was asleep. Those moments weren't lies, were they? That night, he decided to surprise her. He picked up her favorite dessert from the bakery downtown and drove across the city, excitement warring with an unshakable sense of dread. He parked outside her apartment and pulled out his phone, ready to text her. But before he could, his breath caught. Through the dimly lit window, he saw Emily, standing too close to another man, laughter spilling from her lips in a way he hadn't heard in months. Daniel felt the world tilt. His fingers clenched around the dessert box, the weight of his love for her crashing into the reality of what he was seeing. For the first time, he didn't knock. He didn't call. He simply stood there, the perfect illusion unraveling before his eyes. Daniel sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. The dessert box rested on the passenger seat, forgotten. His mind raced, replaying what he had seen through Emily's window, her bright smile, the way she leaned into the man's touch, the easy intimacy between them. A sight that once belonged to him, now shared with a stranger. His heart pounded as he fought the urge to storm inside. He wanted answers, but more than that, he wanted to wake up from this nightmare. Maybe it wasn't what it seemed. Maybe he was overreacting. With a deep breath, he grabbed his phone and sent a simple text, "Hey, I'm outside. Can we talk?" A few minutes later, the apartment door creaked open, and Emily stepped out. She hesitated at the sight of him, her brows knitting together. She hadn't expected him. "Daniel? What are you doing here?" Her voice was smooth, practiced. He searched her face for any sign of guilt, any flicker of hesitation. "I wanted to surprise you," he said, lifting the dessert box slightly. His voice was steady, but his chest felt like it was caving in. "But I guess I'm the one who got surprised." Emily's lips parted, but no words came. The silence between them stretched, thick and suffocating. "Who is he?" Daniel finally asked. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. She crossed her arms, glancing toward the apartment door as if weighing her options. "Daniel, it's not what you think." He let out a bitter laugh. "Then tell me what it is." A flicker of irritation flashed across her face, quickly masked by forced patience. "He's just a friend." The words felt like a slap. A friend. He had been with her long enough to recognize the lie in her voice, the way she averted her gaze, the way her fingers twitched, small tells she had never needed to hide before. Daniel exhaled slowly, his breath shaky. "You don't have to lie to me, Emily." She sighed, rubbing her temples. "It's complicated." That was all he needed to hear. A dull ache settled in his chest, heavier than anger, colder than heartbreak. It was the weight of realization, the knowledge that the woman he had built his world around had been slipping away long before tonight. He nodded, more to himself than to her. "Yeah. I guess it is." For the first time, he saw the situation with perfect clarity. No more excuses. No more blind faith. Just the undeniable truth. He didn't demand answers. He didn't beg city for lights blurred through Daniel's windshield as he drove aimlessly. He turned, his thoughts colliding like waves in a storm, and drove away. Emily didn't stop him. The weight in his chest hadn't lessened. It had settled, sinking into his bones like an unbearable truth. He had walked away from Emily, but the betrayal followed him, whispering doubts he couldn't silence. Had he been blind? Had he ignored the signs because he wanted so badly to believe in their love? He pulled into an empty parking lot, turning off the engine. The silence pressed in. His hands trembled as he gripped the steering wheel, his pulse drumming in his ears. It wasn't just Emily's betrayal that haunted him, it was the realization that his love had been a one-way street for far too long. His phone buzzed on the dashboard. He glanced at the screen. A message from Emily. "Can we talk?" A few weeks ago, he would have jumped at the chance, desperate to understand, to fix things. Now, the words felt hollow. He didn't need an explanation. He had seen enough. Instead of replying, he called his closest friend, Marcus. The phone rang twice before Marcus picked up. "Yo, man. You good?" Daniel let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. "Not really." "Say no more." "Meet me at the diner." 15 minutes later, Daniel slid into a booth across from Marcus. The familiar scent of coffee and fried food wrapped around him like a small comfort. Marcus studied him for a moment, then nodded. "She cheated." Daniel blinked. "How did you've got that look?" Marcus stirred his coffee. "The same one I had when it happened to me." A bitter chuckle escaped Daniel's lips. "I feel like an idiot." "You're not," Marcus said firmly. "You trusted her." "That's not stupidity, that's loyalty. The problem is, too many of us give that loyalty to people who don't deserve it." Daniel leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "Maybe I was too nice. Too available. Too predictable." Marcus shook his head. "No, man. The problem isn't you, it's the game. Relationships aren't built on respect anymore. It's about who has the upper hand, who can string the other person along the longest. And guys like us? We're not playing that game." The words hit harder than Daniel expected. He had always believed in love, in commitment, in fighting for something real. But what if Marcus was right? What if modern relationships weren't built for men like him anymore? Daniel sighed. "So what now?" Marcus smirked. "Now? You walk away. Not just from her, from all of it. Focus on yourself. Hit the gym, build your career, do whatever makes you happy. Stop chasing people who don't see your worth." For the first time that night, Daniel felt a strange sense of peace. He wasn't just losing Emily. He was finally finding himself. Weeks passed, and with each day, Daniel felt the weight of Emily's betrayal loosen its grip on him. At first, the pain had been unbearable, like a wound that refused to heal. But now, as he stood in front of the gym mirror, sweat dripping down his temples, he saw something different in his reflection: strength. Clarity. A man who had finally stopped waiting for someone to love him the way he deserved. He had thrown himself into self-improvement, not for revenge, not to prove a point, but for himself. Mornings at the gym replaced the restless nights spent staring at the ceiling. His career flourished as he put in extra hours, focusing on his goals instead of wasted love. And most importantly, he had learned to enjoy his own company. Emily had reached out a few more times, her messages growing increasingly desperate. "Can we just talk? I made a mistake, Daniel. I miss you." He never responded. Not because he hated her, no, hatred required too much energy. He had simply outgrown the need for closure. She had made her choice, and he had made his, to walk away and never look back. One evening, as he sat on his balcony, watching the city lights flicker in the distance, Marcus called, "You alive, man?" Daniel smirked. "More than ever." Marcus laughed. "Good. A few of us are hitting up this lounge tomorrow. You in?" Daniel hesitated, but only for a second. "Yeah. I'm in." He had spent so long believing love was the answer, that happiness was something he had to find in someone else. But now, he understood. The real victory wasn't in proving Emily wrong. It was in proving to himself that he didn't need her, or anyone, to be complete. For the first time in years, Daniel wasn't chasing love. He was choosing himself, and that was enough.